Look at this chart. Of the thousands of student pilots who start flight training every year, only 30% get their license. That means that 70% of student pilots actually drop out. But why? Why do so many students just give up? There are many reasons. Some are pretty obvious, but some of them are actually very surprising. In this video, we're going to look at the top 6 reasons why student pilots actually quit and how to make sure that you avoid them. Hi, I'm Greg from Pilot Institute, the online ground school that makes aviation easy. If you've been looking into flight training, you already know that it is expensive. But here's where many students make a big mistake. They don't plan for the total cost of earning their certificate. Technically, you can become a private pilot with 40 hours of flight training. But the reality, well, the FAA says that most pilots need 60 to 75 hours in order to get there, which can be thousands of dollars more. If you're not prepared for that, it can bring your flight training to a grinding halt. That's why money is one of the most common reasons why student pilots quit. To avoid this situation, create a solid financial plan up front. This might mean waiting a little bit longer in order to start lessons. Figure out your total budget based on 70 hours, not 40. And if your flight school is quoting you 40 hours, ask them for a quote based on 70 hours. Now, those extra hours should be budgeted based on the cost of not only the airplane, but also with the instructor. Also, be sure to set aside enough money to complete your training without taking any breaks. Gaps in training make everything harder and also much more expensive because you need the extra time in order to get back to speed. Now, if you need financial assistance, organizations like AOPA or Women in Aviation do offer scholarships. Loans are also another option, but approach them with caution. Make sure that you understand the terms before signing anything. Now, learning to fly takes more than just showing up for lessons. It requires dedication and also discipline. You need time to study, review procedures, chair fly, and prepare for your next flight. But here's where students make a mistake. When life gets busy, training and studying usually get pushed aside. Now, pretty soon, you're only flying once a week, if that. Now, those gaps in training are absolute killers. The solution is to treat your flight training just like a part-time job. Block out specific time every week for flying and for studying. Most successful students fly at least twice a week and spend several hours studying between lessons. And yes, it is a big commitment, but a regular schedule helps you learn faster, spend less money, and actually finish your flight training. So don't let the lack of time end your dream of becoming a pilot. Many students begin training without a clear roadmap and end up feeling lost. Now, this is more common at Part 61 flight schools, where there's not always a very strict syllabus that you can follow. When lessons feel disorganized, it is hard to stay motivated. One day you're learning 5 new things at once, and then the next day you're just cruising around, not really learning anything new. And it's hard to measure progress like this, causing some students to give up entirely. So how do you avoid this frustration? Choose a flight school that uses a structured training program. Now, you want a syllabus that outlines what each lesson will cover and how it builds on the previous one. What maneuver will be in the next lesson? When should you expect to solo? It should all be there in black and white. A syllabus helps you track your progress and get ready for the next lesson, making training more manageable and also more enjoyable. If your instructor can't provide a detailed training plan, consider finding another flight school. Here's one that every student experiences somewhere in their journey, that point where progress seems to stop. And we call that the plateau. Now, we all want steady improvement when we're learning something new, but flight training doesn't really work that way. You might spend hours practicing the same maneuver over and over again and not really make a ton of progress. When your instructor doesn't explain why this is happening, it can feel like you're stuck in a loop. Now, training becomes more of a grind, and pretty soon you're starting to wonder if you're even cut off to be flying an airplane at all. Many good pilots quit at this stage, and that's quite frankly a shame. The real issue? Your instructor needs to communicate the standards from the ACS or from the syllabus for each of the maneuvers. And without knowing exactly what you're aiming for, you can't measure progress. That's when all of the repetition starts to feel pointless. If you're struggling to meet the standards, ask your flight instructor to set practice goals. Take short field landing, for example. Hitting the target within 200 feet seems impossible at first. So start with 300 feet, then 250, then 200. Now you can see progress between each of the flights. And speaking of your instructor, they play a huge role in your success as a student pilot, but not every CFI is a good fit. Their teaching style might actually not match how you learn. Or maybe they're building flight time for the airlines and they're not giving you the attention that you deserve. And sometimes they're great pilots, but your personality just seems to clash. This can slow down your progress and drain your motivation. But here's something that many students don't know. you're not stuck with your first CFI. Talk to your flight school about trying lessons with different instructors and then maybe finding the right match that can make a huge difference. Students often focus on the flying part of training, but you also need to get a valid FAA medical certificate at least once in order to become a pilot. Many don't realize how strict these requirements are until what seems like a minor health problem stops them completely from getting their license. Having a medical issue doesn't automatically ground you, but certain conditions or medication can delay certification by months or even years. You don't want to find that out after investing time and money in training. If you have any health concerns, don't rush to book an exam. You don't want to risk failing the exam. Instead, schedule a consultation with an aviation medical examiner, AME for short, before starting your flight training. They can review your health history and spot any potential issues very early in the process. Sometimes it's just extra paperwork, other times you might need to switch medication and get additional tests. Now the key here is knowing what you're dealing with from the beginning. And if you're interested in learning more about how to become a pilot, this video right here explains how to get your license step by step. Thanks for watching and fly safe.